In news from Jamaica Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips is appealing for understanding as the government moves to reform the economy. In an address to the nation on Tuesday, Dr. Phillips said the economic reform program supported by the IMF has made steady gains. However, he argued that there's still more work to be done. Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips tried to inspire hope among Jamaicans as he spoke to citizens on Tuesday night. He reassured that the sacrifices by public sector workers, bondholders and pensioners have not gone in vain. Dr. Phillips argues that today the economy is in a much better place. He notes that inflation is trending down, more Jamaicans are working, and the country's net international reserves, NIR, is in an improved position. The finance minister adds that the economy is registering steady gains. He says confidence is returning to the local markets and investors are again looking at Jamaica. But he insists there is still much more to be done.
Economic growth takes place when we are able to sell goods and services to people in global markets at competitive prices. There's no way around the market and our need to be competitive. Nobody anywhere in the world has an obligation to buy from us.
Dr. Phillips says going forward, sustained economic growth will be critical. To date, Jamaica has aced 8 quarterly IMF reviews. Dr. Phillips says the country's success should not be taken lightly.
It is the passing of these quarterly reviews over the last 2 fiscal years that made us eligible to receive some $15.5 billion in grants and some $39.6 billion in concessionary loans. The interest rates paid on the concessionary loans mean that although we continue to borrow, the debt servicing costs will be considerably less.
Addressing the government's growth agenda, Dr. Phillips says mega projects like the agri-parks remain essential. He says in another 3 years, 21 agri-parks will be established.
When fully implemented, these parks are expected to impact thousands of Jamaicans directly and indirectly, and will not only assist in food exports, but further reduce our reliance on imported foodstuff. The business process outsourcing sub-industry continues to expand and provide employment to thousands of Jamaicans.
And more emphasis will be placed on tourism. The aim is to attract visitors interested in integrated resorts. Cabinet has granted approval for Harmony Cove Limited and Celebration Jamaica Development Limited as integrated resort developers. This paves the way for the granting of casino license.
In terms of the Harmony Cove development, the total estimated cost for Phase 1 is projected at $970 million, with annual job creation forecast at more than 1,200 direct jobs during construction and more than 2,700 direct full-time equivalent jobs once operations commence. For Celebration Jamaica Development Limited, the estimated cost for Phase 1 is approximately $500 million, with employment in excess of 2,400 persons.
Meanwhile, the opposition has not taken too kindly to Dr. Phillips' comments that the government rescued the country from bankruptcy after the Jamaica Labour Party left office. During his broadcast to the nation, Dr. Phillips said that the economy was in a bad state when they assumed office in 2012. He said based on the JLP's administration poor track record with the IMF, Jamaica had little access to grants from the capital markets and multilateral partners. But the Shadow Finance Minister says that's not the truth.
Well, on the first point about rescuing the country from bankruptcy, that is rubbish. What we left in the economy in December 2011, we left net international reserves at over $2 billion United States dollars. We left an economy that was growing by 1.7%. and we've brought interest rates down to the point where it was stimulating the real estate sector. We also were borrowing. We had borrowing arrangements. We borrowed $400 million on the international capital markets. We borrowed $230 million from the IDB in the latter part of the year. So all of that rubbish is the argument that our credibility has fallen on the international capital markets as well as with multilaterals. Nothing could be further from the truth.
On the issue of public sector wage demands, Mr. Shaw says a JLP administration would place a better offer on the table.
Number one, we would have implemented the public sector transformation unit recommendations by phasing out jobs over a 4-year period. 10,000 jobs would have gone, $50 billion would have been saved by now. Number two, what we would have done in respect of the whole public sector salaries is that we would have continued to keep our exchange rate stable so that the purchasing power of public sector workers and other citizens of the country would not have plunged by 40% as it has done over the past 3.5 years under the PNP. And once we kept things stable, keep the exchange rate stable, then we could have offered, and of course, we would have grown the economy in the way that the Labour Party knows how to grow an economy. And we would be in a position to offer a decent wage increase, not excessive, but something that the budget could afford and the country could afford.
Mr. Shaw says the government needs to take urgent steps to secure broad-based growth in the economy.
But what Dr. Phillips has to do now is pass his IMS test. What he must focus now is passing the people's test, because he has also passed the poverty test. What he needs to pass now is the wealth creation test. He needs to pass the job creation test. He needs to pass the economic growth test. And that is the ultimate test of governance.